It is a week after results day now, and I managed to get all A stars in my GCSEs. And this video is basically going to show you guys how you can do the same and manage to pull off A stars in your GCSE exams. And I know you might be saying, oh, we didn't have exams, oh, it was teacher assessed grades. But no, basically my school made us sit formal exams under time pressure, under basically everything, as if they were normal GCSEs. And they used those grades to calculate our sort of final grade for our GCSEs, as well as other evidence. But the thing is, I believe that I worked for it. I sort of had to revise from the very beginning of year 11 because every single test that they tested us on was basically a part of our GCSE exam, which was quite terrifying. But next year, according to the news, I guess you guys will be having normal exams. So basically, I'll be teaching you how to get A stars in everything. The first thing we're going to cover is revision methods and sort of revision techniques. So, revision methods, I would definitely use the Pomodoro technique when revising. And this is basically when you revise 20 minutes, then take a 5-minute break, then another 20 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and another 20 minutes, and take a longer break, probably for around 20 to 30 minutes. And this will basically ensure that you don't lose focus and you do have sort of occasional breaks where you can check your phone, where you can eat something, and you also have longer breaks to do whatever you want. And I usually scatter these Pomodoro sessions throughout my day and leave like the afternoon free. So what I used to do was I used to revise 2 hours in the morning and around 2 hours in the evening. And then that was like during mocks time. When it came to actual GCSEs, I bumped it up to 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the evening. But it is doable because if you just break it down into small chunks, you'll realize that it's not even that hard and you can sort of do it whilst having a lot of free time. Now, the second revision method is sort of a revision technique that you have to do in your Pomodoro session. And this is something called blurting. Now, blurting, it sounds quite odd, but it's basically when you get a piece of paper and you sort of write down as much as you know. And it's basically like when you read over a page of a CGP textbook. Let's say I'm reading over diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. I've read all of the key terminology, all of the key information about diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. Now I close the book and I get a piece of paper, and you might have seen me sort of scribbling on my TikTok lives. That's basically me blurting. So I get a blank piece of paper and write down all of the information that I can remember from the CGP books and put it onto that sheet. So if I remember, diffusion is the net movement of molecules from particles from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. It's a passive process. Osmosis is the net movement of water molecules from an area of high concentration to area of low concentration through a partially permeable membrane. And active transport is the movement of molecules or ions from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration against the concentration gradient, but using energy in the form of ATP. So this is really testing my biology, but yeah, so you blurt all of that down onto one page and repeat the process. Now, let's say I didn't know that active transport required energy. I'd have to write that down in another color on that paper and just repeat the whole process again until you basically nailed down everything and until you've sort of remember everything that you have read. Now, blurting is a great form of active recall, and you should try and aim to blurt around 1 or 2 times a day on as many topics as possible. Now, the third most important revision technique is past papers. Now, you have to do past papers. It's not optional. You're going to have to do past papers. You do not understand how important doing past papers are. The thing is with past papers, an exam or an exam board or like the person testing you can only ask you a certain amount of questions on a certain topic. There are only a few questions that you can really ask on diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. Now, I am 100% sure that these questions or very similar questions would have come up in previous past papers. So this is why you need to print out as many past papers as possible. I remember in year 10, end of year 10, I printed out 500 to 800 past papers from school, because our school has this like free printing thing. We can go in and print whatever we want and take it home. So I remember coming home with literally bulks and bulks of past papers, and I managed to do around 3 a day, which was really, really good, and I'd recommend you do the same. But of course, if you can't print 800 sheets of paper, and if you don't have like free printing at school, then I'd recommend doing them on a laptop or doing them on a piece of paper. I'm really lucky to have an iPad, so now I'm not going to be printing anymore, especially because it's a lot of paper that after GCSEs it's a waste, because where are you meant to keep it? So I've just decided to do it all on my iPad, go 100% paperless, and sort of do all of my past papers on there for A level. So past papers is the number one thing that you want to be doing to secure your A stars. Now, the last revision technique / method I'm going to talk about is not really like a method itself, but it's using 2 apps, either Quizlet or Anki. Now, Quizlet is something that you probably most know. It's just an app you can get on your computer or your iPhone, and you basically just create Quizlet flashcards and go over them whenever you have an exam. Now, I don't really like Quizlet because it doesn't really tell me what I need to revise and like how I need to revise it in terms of like when, and like it just doesn't tell me the information that I sort of don't know. It basically just gives me everything at once. Whereas Anki, it actually tells me what I need to revise on a certain day to memorize the whole syllabus. Let's say I've made a deck of cards on the whole of biology. It will give me around 20 to 50 cards. You can customize this. Sorry, my phone battery died. But anyway, I was saying that Anki would basically give you 20 to 50 cards that you basically just need to memorize every single day, and it will use a thing called a spaced repetition to basically spread these cards out, and it has its own algorithm, and that will sort of factor in and help you memorize the cards for your exam. So I'd definitely recommend Anki over Quizlet, but if you do prefer aesthetics over sort of algorithm, then I'd recommend Quizlet if that's for you. Okay, so now I'm just going to basically list some helpful information that I wish I had known before sort of doing my GCSEs to ensure that I would have basically gained an A star earlier on throughout the term, if you get me. So the first tip I would give myself is don't waste your time on paper flashcards. This is just a personal opinion, but I hate paper flashcards. They really, really stressed me out because I had like 1,000 or like 500 paper flashcards all over my desk, had no idea where to start. So I switched to Anki or Quizlet, and that literally made it much better because I didn't have to take all of those flashcards into school, and it was just stress-free and the thing is, the worst thing was when I just couldn't fit the information onto one flashcard. That was just so annoying. But flashcards was a waste of time for me, in my opinion. Next tip was to be honest, I didn't hate making notes. I made all of my notes in year 10, but the thing is, in year 11, I don't think I even used them, because the thing is, notes, they're very like a very one-time thing. Again, this is what I found during exam season. I never really looked back at my notes. I looked back at my Anki and just did past papers all the way, because it's what you want to be doing is active recall and not just reading over your notes, because it's not really a process where you'd actually memorize stuff. It's just reading over your notes and slowly memorizing it, whereas Anki or past papers, you'd actually get a feel for actual questions and you'd be able to tackle them, whereas notes, it's just throwing a whole load of information and you're not really able to sort of put that into past paper or paper like question words, if you get me. My next tip is to get rid of your phone when revising, just because it's a big distraction. I know I was terrible at this, but one way I tackled this was through TikTok. TikTok definitely helped me just because I was going live when revising, so it basically was like a parallel to my revision schedule. So I never had to actually check my phone just because I was on live, and if I did check my phone, it would end the live, and that just defeats the whole purpose of going live. Okay, so let's talk about productivity and what sort of motivated me to increase my productivity levels, and actually what motivated me to revise. Now, if I'm being honest, it was definitely my TikTok, because again, it ran parallel to my revision. And if I didn't go live on TikTok, if I didn't have the support I had, then I don't think I would be this productive and this motivated to actually revise. Just because like having a community that backs you up is so important. So that brings me on to my next point, is watching sort of study with me videos when you revise, because it makes you feel like you're in a community. It makes you feel like people are with you. Maybe go into like something called Study Stream, and it's like a website where everybody can study together. It just makes you feel part of a community when revising, and that's something you sort of want to be in. And that brings me on to my next point, which is a community. You want to have a community around you, and that brings me on to my Discord server. So if you aren't in my Discord server, we're basically a community of around 7,000, no, actually 8,000 students from today. We gained 1,000 today. Yeah, we're a community of around 8,000 students in the UK doing GCSEs and A-levels. We have mentors on the server, so if anybody has a question, if anyone needs help on homework, you can basically just send a picture of what you need help with onto a subject-specific channel. We have subjects ranging from chemistry, sociology, psychology, PE, art, DT, EPQ, Latin, French, German, Mandarin, Russian, so many. Greek, so many. And if you have any question, you can just post it on the server on the subject channel, and one of the mentors or one student will get back to you with help. And it really does help in terms of you finding a community that you're in, and sort of just you know that you have help around you when you need it. And on our server, we have study rooms. So if anybody wants to study with people, then you can join a study room where people can basically just study together with their cameras on, which is another excellent feature about my Discord server. My next tip is to listen to lo-fi hip-hop beats when revising. They definitely did help me. Music without any words, or just like general calming music, definitely helps put you in the scene of sort of motivation. And lo-fi hip-hop beats definitely worked for me. It was like just listening to nice things in the background, or even just listening to like instrumental music in the background. That really did help. But also I did tend to listen to French music whilst revising, just so I could build up on my French vocab whilst revising like science or something. My last tip is to use the CGP guides. Use any textbooks that your school gives you. Take them to your advantage. You need to use them because they're literally free resources that your school is giving to you, or they're resources that you have at home. Please use them. They've got everything that you need. They've got the whole spec. They cover everything. Just read through them, and read through them before your exam. Read through them throughout, like every day, and you will do amazing. Actually, I've got one more point for the end. Now, you need to know where to find your resources, because when you're going into your GCSEs, you want to know where you can find the best resources possible, including notes, past papers, mind maps, everything for free. And the internet is your tool. You basically want to use the internet to your advantage. It has everything that you would possibly need, because you need to know how to search for resources. Like if you want to find a mind map on enzymes, you need to find that online, because there's so many online. You just have to look in the right places. So I'd recommend getrevising.co.uk, because basically students can upload their notes to that and other students can download it. So please look at websites like Physics and Maths Tutor, Get Revising, Save My Exams, Dr. Khan Academy or Khan Academy, Seneca. Use online resources, please, because you're going to thank yourself later, especially with past papers that are scattered online. Just find as much stuff as you can and take it to your advantage. Use the internet to your advantage. That is my final tip, because you have access to it. Just please take advantage of it. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And I wish you the best of luck for year 11 or year 10 or year 9, whatever year you're going into. You're going to have a great year. You're going to do amazing in exams. You're going to do amazing in mocks. Just just keep calm and follow the tips that I've given and you will do amazing. So if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video. It would help me and it would boost my channel up. We're so close to 6,000 subscribers, which is like mad. I don't know what we'll be like in a year's time. Maybe we'll be famous. I doubt it, but yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, make sure you go subscribe and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. See you soon.